This is Scott Becker with the Becker Business Podcast and the Becker Private Equity Podcast. Today's discussion is most podcasts suck. And so I know this is an unpopular topic for somebody who lives in the world of podcasting, for better or for worse. But here's my take on this. I have a theory that when I am talking to somebody, or if I'm talking, if I talk for about 2 to 3 minutes at a time straight, there's some period of time where if you are listening, you will start to turn to your phone and start to look at your email, look at your text, do other things. Most podcasts are built on the concept that they have to be long to engage enough with advertisers and enough space for advertisers, and thus they have to be much longer than they have to be. So one of the challenges of being in the podcast business and world is I am constantly sent by people, you have to listen to this podcast. This podcast is great. And I almost always will go ahead and take that recommendation and listen to it. And I can't tell you how few podcasts are out there, including this one for all practical purposes. I don't know who listens to this, who likes it, who hates it. I don't know. And I care, but I don't know. And I have no great belief that this is great and others are bad. All I know is that others are often horrible. I went to listen today to the New York Times podcast because somebody said you have to listen to this, the daily podcast. And before you even get to the podcast, you get 2 minutes of distraction with another story. Then you get a minute or two of distraction with a different advertisement for a different New York Times podcast. So by the time you actually get to the actual interview or the discussion, you're already sort of a little bit tired and a little bit bored and a little bit moving on to the next thing. And that might be me. And I admit that I've got a horrendously short attention span. But I find this concept to be true with so many podcasts. And I'm not sure that our sucks or doesn't suck. I don't know. But I can tell you this as an avid listener of podcasts. There are some I like. There are many, many that bore me to death. So what I take away at the end of the day, there's just an explosion of content. And at the end of the day, most podcasts suck. But I don't say that proudly. I don't have any particular axe to grind. I just think most are incredibly boring after a little bit. I know that when the producer and the creator are putting them together, they think they're going to be interesting, or they hope they're going to be interesting, or they're just mailing it in because they need a long enough episode, a long enough whatever it is to bring in enough advertisers, and God bless them. Or they start with a great brand behind them, like the New York Times, so they're going to get listeners. And of course, there will be loyal listeners because the podcast will have a point of view or a narrative. Although, quite frankly, the last one I listened to the New York Times was not particularly down a political narrative or another. It was just at the end of the day, hard to listen to and got boring after a while and a lot of pretentiousness. But I think this is not a knock on the New York Times. I think this is a more general statement about most podcasts. Thank you for listening. I would love your feedback, 773-766-5322. If you text me with your thoughts on this concept, this title, Most Podcasts Suck, I'd love to hear your suggestion either about improving this or about how much this one sucks, which I'm fine with, or about a podcast you think I absolutely have to listen to that I'm going to love. And if you're the first person to text, we'll send you a $50 Amazon gift certificate. Thank you for listening to the Becker Business and the Becker Private Equity Podcast. Thank you very, very much.